From Agerpoint, I'm James Kotecki, and this is the Point Cloud, on location at the Aim for Climate Summit in Washington, D.C., and I'm joined by Saharah Moon Chapotin, Executive Director, Foundation for Food and Agriculture Research. Welcome, and thank you so much.
Thank you, James. Great to be here.
And the acronym is FFAR, and,
right.
and FFAR is actually playing a huge role in supporting the Aim for Climate Summit, and I want to talk about that, but first, maybe just contextualize for folks, what is FFAR?
FFAR is a foundation that does bold research on food and agriculture challenges. We form public-private partnerships. We are funded by Congress, and we are given the mandate to form these public-private partnerships, but before we can spend $1 of congressional federal money, we have to match it with a non-federal dollar. So we bring the public and the private together to do research.
And what kind of research are you cooking up?
Oh, we do all kinds of research. Research that is designed to make agriculture more sustainable, more profitable for farmers, and really addressing the big challenges that we're facing today. So this is breeding new crop varieties, addressing animal challenges, pests and diseases, looking at things like soil science and water management, understanding how agriculture impacts human health, and thinking about agriculture in urban areas, for example.
So all of the kind of agriculture innovation research that I might assume is going on, this is kind of an accelerant to that, a catalyst to that through taxpayer money and public-private partnerships.
Yes, leveraging that taxpayer money to increase that investment through private sector investment as well.
And how is FFAR supporting the Aim for Climate Summit today?
Oh, well, we've been partnering with USDA since the very beginning to organize this summit and bring it all together. And it's just such a great opportunity to really advance climate research on this national stage for us.
I understand this is a very important event on the road to COP28, but has anything like this particular summit with this kind of mix of people and these themes, has this existed before? Is this kind of a one-of-a-kind event?
I've never been to anything like this. I haven't been to every summit in the world, but I have to say this feels really unique, bringing all these partners together and really being so laser focused on how do we bring forward the challenges or the innovations that we need to solve the challenges to get us there.
And do you feel like there are themes or a kind of consensus or consensuses that seem to be arising from the conversations either that are happening on stage in panels or in the hallway?
Well, I just came off a wonderful session where they were talking about investors, and investors were talking about how they are bringing resources to the table and really ensuring that technologies and innovations don't just sit there. Mm-hmm. It's not good enough to do research. You got to really invest in them and get them all the way to farmers. So that was a great theme that came out of it. I think we're realizing that we need to do this in partnership. I love that there are so many ministers here from around the world. This is both a public meeting and a ministerial meeting at the same time. And bringing those countries together, bringing the governments together with all the private companies that are here, that feels like a really important theme.
Obviously, FFAR is doing research on so many great innovations, and they're all really important, but do you think that is there a specific area that you either want to call out as exciting or lagging, like places where we need more investment? You could say like, in AI and data we need more investment, or soil research we need more investment. Because I assume that there may be kind of maybe blockages out there that maybe we just need to give extra attention to right now.
I think we need more investment that really brings farmers to the table in conceptualizing and prioritizing the research so that the research that we're doing is designed to meet farmers' needs. And so that cuts across all the areas that I talked about. Yeah. One area that we invest in really heavily is climate-focused research, and through we have 5 innovation sprints here under Aim for Climate. One of our innovation sprints, Ag Mission, is really designed to bring researchers and scientists together. And that's going to be what gets the research sort of out of the lab and into the field.
It's that last piece of the puzzle, right? Making sure that someone can actually use this, and then if they use it, that they get insight from the tools that they're actually using in the field.
Exactly.
I'm going to just toss out a grandiose kind of philosophical question your way, if you don't mind. So when you think about the history of agriculture and the history of like human flourishing, there's like some of the very first big technological breakthroughs in human history were agricultural. Oh, now we can like farm instead of having to forage, and now we can automate our farming, and now we've got AI. Obviously, you can just look through the thousands of years. Do you see us as humanity kind of being on the precipice of another kind of big technological breakthrough in agriculture?
I think you're right, that we've constantly been moving through these big breakthroughs that have really unlocked the potential of agriculture. And I think that we're continuing to do those. I don't want to lose sight of the fact that research is long-term and it's very incremental at the same time. So I think what a breakthrough right now is our ability to integrate across disciplines. You have crop breeding you have animal science, you have, as you mentioned, data science. And I think that because we're so connected, and I think there's a really a new philosophy around converging sort of all these different research disciplines together, that could be a breakthrough, is the fact that we can address a problem by bringing different disciplines together.
That the answers could already be in the heads of the people who are here, but they just need to get together and talk, which is one of the reasons that we're having these conversations. How do you think the average consumer, the average person who's putting food on the plate at the end of the day, how do you think that they experience these innovations? Is the future going to look radically different to the diner and the kitchen of the future? Or is it going to look the same, but behind the scenes so many things have actually changed to enable that continuity to happen?
Yeah. I think it's going to be both. There's going to be new foods, new protein products or new crop varieties that we're not familiar with, for example. So there are going to be new foods, but I think it's what goes into making that food. And I think as consumers really start to get an understanding of what goes into their food system and are really asking for and demanding a more sustainable food system, it might be the same hamburger, but it's going to come from cattle that are producing less methane and contributing less to climate change. It might be the same tortilla, but it's come from corn that is much more drought tolerant and farmers can grow it at a greater profit. And so many companies recognize this, that consumers really want a more sustainable food. And the companies have made commitments. They say, you want it, we're going to deliver it. And now the companies are trying to figure out how to deliver that. And that's where FFAR's research can really support the food system, is by helping those companies really deliver on those commitments they've made to consumers.
So as a final round of wrap up here, as we head toward COP28 and we see this as a milestone on the way there, what are your thoughts coming out of this event and heading towards that?
Well, I know that the United Arab Emirates is having great leadership in the food and ag world at COP. And so I am really heartened that I think, last year at COP, agriculture started to get on the agenda. This year, I'm hopeful that it will really be on the agenda. And so I think all the conversations that are happening here at Aim for Climate are setting us up for a really productive, and more than just productive, like a leap game changer, whatever that, really changing the dynamic around agriculture being actually one of the solutions that can get us to an improved climate.
Well, thanks so much for sharing some time with us, and congratulations on a really well done event.
Thank you.
Saharah Moon Chapotin, Executive Director of FFAR. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for watching. We're here at the Aim for Climate Summit in Washington, D.C. From Agerpoint, I'm James Kotecki, and this is The Point Cloud.